Hi, everybody. This
Looking
is
good.
Susan Fabricini, and I want to welcome you to Lesson 2, Week 2 of my 6-week course on winning the wealth game. And today we are going to go over spreading up a tracking sheet so that you'll be able to accurately track your expenses and your income. And this is really important because in order to control your finances, you have to be able to track them. And a lot of times what happens is if people aren't tracking them and I sit down with somebody, I say, so how much do you spend? They'll start to think and they'll rattle off things off the top of their heads. But the only ones they really remember are the stuff that they spend time thinking about and planning for. The little stuff that pops up, everybody forgets about. So like that money just sort of disappears into the atmosphere. But it's important for our purposes here that we get real numbers. So that's why we're going to do a tracking sheet, and you're going to find this tracking sheet to be very handy, especially at tax time. It's also going to help you with your personal and business budgeting as well. And so I'm going to bring up, let me see, I need to share my screen with you, and there it is. Okay, so we are starting with a blank spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you step by step what we're doing. So we got the sheet up, and right now it's called Book 3. So I'm going to give it a different name, and the way that I do that is by going in up on my spreadsheet here. There's this little arrow that I can come down, and I hit File. And it should come up with a window that says, okay, here we go, Save As. So I'm going to save it in my documents, and I'm going to save it as, let's see, I'm going to save it as Spreadsheet. Oops, Spreadsheet Sample. Save. So now it has that name up here. And then down at the bottom, you're going to see Sheet 1, Sheet 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to name it by the month. So right now I'm on Sheet, let's see, I'm going to go to Sheet 1. And I already filled out the top part on this one, but we're going to fill it out on the next one. So Sheet 1, I'm going to call it July. And then when I go to Sheet 2, I click over here and double click on where it says Sheet 2. See how it highlights? And now I can type in August. And then when you want to make another sheet, you click on the little plus sign and it gives you the next sheet, which you can then double click and call it, let's see, June, July, August, September. So that's how that works. Now we're going to go back to August, and then across the top, we're going to name each of these columns. Right now they're A, B, C, D, and we're going to go into that first row there, and we're going to give names. So the first column is going to be for the date. The next column is going to be for the expense. Whoops. The next column is for the amount. The next column is for the vendor. So this is who we paid the money to. The next column is going to be for, now I have to peek at my other one, account. So this is which account is the money coming out of. The next column is going to be, you can say a column for business and a column for personal, or you can name, if you have more than one business, you can name them out. So for me, I have my Great Life Financials business, Great Life Financials. I could also do my real estate business. I can do my personal expenses. This is usually how I set mine up. And then the last column here is going to be category, is going to be the name of that. And in the category column, we're going to put either the budget category or the tax category. So if it's a business expense, it's going to be a tax category. And if it's a personal expense, it'll be a budget category. So let's fill in an example. So we're in the August space here. So we'll say August 1st, 2017. And then for the expense, say I'm going to do the office rent. And so for the amount, that's going to be $475. And the vendor is some big long name that I can't remember, so I'm just going to call it landlord. And the account is I use the last 4 digits of the checking account under account because I have lots of different checking accounts, savings accounts. If I'm using a Visa card, I put in the last 4 digits of the Visa card. But if I'm using cash, I'll just write cash in there. And if it's a debit card, I put the checking account number in there. Then since it's a business expense, I put my little X in here. And then because I like it to look better, I want to center that. So I'm going to click on that F. And that means this whole column down here is selected. And then I go up here. You're going to have somewhere everybody's set up depending on whose Excel program or whose spreadsheet program you're using. These are the things that tell you either everything is going to go to the left margin or everything is centered or it goes to the right where it's justified. So I'm going to use the centered here. Click on that. Now my X's are all going to be centered in this column. And then for my category, I just say office rent. Now over here, you see how you can't read the whole line? If you go up here and click twice, once you get that little X, it'll open up the column to be the width of your longest entry. And then under the amount, because I want that to all be in dollars, click on that C so it selects that whole column. And then there's this little thing over here that shows money. The money symbol looks different. Sometimes it's a dollar sign, but I click on that and then it makes this into an amount. Okay, and then you go on down with each different thing. And so if you have, like, say, the next day, 8/2/2017, and gasoline for the car, and spent $20, and your vendor was mobile. And then this is the personal account, which 2354 will say. So now I click it under, make my X under personal. And I want to make that one centered as well. So I go over here. And then this category is just going to be gasoline. And that ends up being a budget category. Oops, where'd that go? Okay. Do you have any questions so far on what you're seeing here?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Go ahead.
Is there a reason why we have to do category on I that repeats B, which is the expense?
Now, actually in these two they do repeat, but let me show you a time when they wouldn't. So 8/3/17, and I'm going to a networking breakfast.
You find them, I don't know where you went.
And I'm spending $11, and I'm at a Denny's or something. And so I'm using my business account. And so this category, what I do for networking, not everybody has this expense, but what I do for networking is I put it under advertising, and then I'll put a dash and put networking here. What are some other ones? Oh, sometimes if I have like, if I buy a book from Amazon,
No.
this would go under education.
Here's scissors. There.
Okay. Kimberly, do you have a question?
No, I'm good, thanks.
No.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Bro, do you want to do the face like this? You put the other
I actually have a spreadsheet I keep just for personal expenses because I don't have my own business, so I do it a little bit differently.
Uh-huh.
But it works for me. But yeah, I get the whole concept of definitely tracking everything.
Yeah, and then when we do, for people who don't know this part, when you want to add everything, when you want to add a column, you click on the column you want it to show up in, and then you go up, you slide up, and then you find this little symbol here, and click on that, and it automatically adds your column for you. I'm going to put a few more things in here and then show you how to sort this book. Let's see. Let's see. What's another expense? Makeup. Vendor. Nordstrom's. Personal account. And this will be personal care. Oops. So some of these things are going to be business and some are personal, and maybe we'll do another one that is the 6, 17, and we'll do paint. That's 25 from Home Depot. And use Home Depot card. And that goes under real estate. X. Oops. This one I want. Okay, category maintenance. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort all of this. So in order to sort this, I'm going to click on this corner thing here, and it selects all of it. And then I'm going to go up to the sort button here, and I'm going to do a custom sort. So the first thing I'm going to have it sort by, because I want all the business expenses first, I'm going to sort by, oh, and click on, yeah, my data has headers. Make sure to click in that little box. So the first column I'm going to sort by is going to be first by my business, then add a level, then sort by personal expenses, and then add another level, and sort by real estate expenses. And I do that, the real estate expenses are usually pretty small for me. The business ones are the ones I'm going to be most concerned with. So I do that one on top. And then I'll click OK. And then it sorts it. All of the business expenses are up front now, are on top. And so then what I do is I'll click over here and I'll add a row. So I go to rows and columns, and I'll hit Insert Cell and go over here and insert a row. And so it gives me a space there. And that way I can have a space to add up all of these business expenses if I want to. And I'm going to take it a little bit farther. At the end of the month is when I do this, all this sorting. So I have all my expenses from the month, and I sort out all the business expenses first. And then what I do is between each category, I also put a space so that I can add up each category. So office rent is usually sitting off by itself. But advertising is going to have a whole bunch of stuff. And education usually ends up having a whole bunch of stuff as well. And this makes it easier to add up each of those categories and then put them into the budget. So let's see, what else should you know about these category things? I think that's the main stuff that you need to know. If you wanted to merge something, there's a merge and center. So if we wanted to let's see, insert a row up here. And if we wanted to just say, let me select, go across the top here and say spending chart. Let's see, merge and center. Did it work? I'm going to try this again. Merge and center. There we go. So that's another thing you can do with these spreadsheets. Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody. Okay. Do you have any questions on this part?
Nope, good.
Okay. So this is what I would love to see you guys start to do for this month. Start to go and keep track of every expense, whether it's going to be something that you buy with cash or credit card or debit card or check, or I don't know what else there is. But if you would, yeah, if you would keep track of everything, start keeping track now, and we'll check in next week and just say, so how'd you do on keeping track? And we'll talk about that a little bit next week. And the goal is at the end of the 4th week, we're going to put these on, we're going to sort everything and take a look at it to see what a month of expenses looks like. So
I don't want to know.
it all starts with taking a look and facing it.
Yes, and stop being an ostrich, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to look at. And then we will, once we have some information built in and we have an idea of a few things partway through, we're going to take a look at doing the budget. It's preliminary to do the budget until you know more about what your expenses actually are.
Okay, so we should do this for a solid month, you think, and then go over it, or?
Yeah, do it for a solid month. And then you're going to have questions probably about how to categorize stuff.
Sure.
And so bring those questions next time.
Okay.
And we'll check in, and we'll just keep checking in because this is kind of a work in progress doing this chart. There's going to
Okay.
be things that you're going to want to, I mean, I'm still like adjusting categories all the time to make it easier for, especially for my taxes, but for whatever, keep adjusting that stuff to make it clearer for me. So that's an ongoing process.
Okay.
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 So great. Well, that's really what I wanted to have you guys learn today. I want to kind of do things piece by piece and not overwhelm.
Right.
So we have a short session today.
Yeah, but we got lots of homework.
Yeah, no kidding. That's,
Oh,
yeah,
my.
whoever that was, I agree. Amen.
I actually find it helpful to just make sure I get a receipt anytime I do anything as much as possible. And then I have a pouch, that just is marked whatever month I'm in, and I throw it in that pouch if I can't deal with it right away.
Yeah.
And just like once a week, throw them in the Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah. That's a good thing. I have to do it more than that because I get so many things that I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I try to do it more frequently than once a week. But what I do is I open up my chart on my desktop of my computer when I sit down at my computer so that as things come up, I go and add them in so that I don't forget. Because, I'll be on here and I'll go and something will come up and, oh, I need to buy envelopes. And I go on to Amazon and order the envelopes. And then I put the amount right into the spreadsheet. So.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's what works for me. Or if I have, when I come home from shopping and I have receipts and I'm not going to sit down because I got to deal with the groceries first, sometimes I'll throw the receipts on my desk or on my computer so that I don't forget to take care of them. But, whatever works. I used to do the envelope thing and I wasn't disciplined enough to keep up with it that way.
Yeah, no kidding. Mine goes into a big grocery bag.
So Susie, you mix up your personal and your business all in one spreadsheet?
I put it all in one spreadsheet because otherwise it gets to be too much
hard.
hassle to open up different ones.
Right, and then you can just filter out what you don't need to look at for taxes and all that.
Right, yeah. So that's why I just sort it and it comes out how I need it for the sorting.
Do you know how to filter? Like you would highlight that number 2 line and then click on the filtering and then you can pick a category you want or something like that? You know how to do that?
You mean to have the categories come up together?
Do you know about the concept of filtering in Excel?
No.
So like highlight line number 2. Just click on the number 2 and it highlights the whole line.
Uh-huh.
Then where it says auto filter next to your auto sum, click on that. Now see how you got those little arrows on the line? So like in your category column, click on the arrow.
On the category column?
Yeah, in the spreadsheet itself, click on that. And then you can deselect all and then just select one of them. I don't know why all of them aren't showing up, but all of them should be showing up there. I'm not really sure why. I don't know what version of Excel you're using. I have a different one. But all those categories should be showing up. Maybe because there's spaces, I think.
Maybe so.
There's spaces. Yeah, if you didn't have a space,
Uh-huh.
then they would all show up and you could just click on the ones you want to see and that would automatically hide all the other ones, like all the personal ones you could hide.
Uh-huh. Well, this one works. I think that by the way that I sort it, ends up doing that for me anyway because it puts all of the business ones at the top.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll also be sorted by categories so that all the advertising ones will be together and all the education ones will be together. So it's really easy to pull them out that way, and it does it for all of them at the same time.
Got it.
Yeah, and we'll do that stuff when we get to the end of the month. We'll go through a sort thing for the budget and for the taxes so we can see how that looks.
Cool.
But this is a...
Do I have to separate it by like vendor? Separate the vendor because there's a million vendors I use.
Yeah, so you want to put the name of each vendor down. even though, so under your vendor column, yeah, you put the name of your vendor, whichever vendor it is that you're sending money to. Because this is going to end up being useful for a lot of things later on. If you need information about specific vendors or whatever, you'll be able to find stuff really easily in here. So the reason that I ended up over the years came up with this was because I would spend too much time on my taxes trying to add stuff and figure stuff out. And so this way, when it comes tax time, all I have to do is push a couple of buttons and it's basically done for me. Instead of spending 2 weeks locked in my office with the door closed and just bread and water. So.
Okay.
Great. And feel free to text or email me during the week if, as you're putting this together, you have questions.
Okay.
And I will see you next week.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Susie.
Doing good.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, next Tuesday.
All righty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
If I can figure how to turn you off.
I'll turn you off.
Big screen.
Hi.